The campaign to save NAFTA is far from over and may yet prove to have been a losing struggle, but Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's blitz of the capitals of Canada's two NAFTA partners planted seeds that may bear fruit down the road. The three main targets of the trip were Trump personally, the U.S. Congress, and the government of Mexican President Enrique Peña Nieto, all of whom will play a role in whatever happens next, whether NAFTA is successfully renegotiated, or if it crashes and burns and needs to be replaced with something else. The most important of those factors is also the most unpredictable, Donald Trump himself. Trump once again spoke in welcoming tones about Trudeau, a man who's become a friend, but he offered no assurances on NAFTA. Trudeau sat quietly in the Oval Office for a few minutes while Trump denounced the fake news media and talked about his desire to get America's nuclear arsenal in tip-top shape. For the Trudeau government, the meeting at least maintained the friendly personal relationship between the two men, a factor that appears to carry considerable weight with Trump. But on the same day the two met, Round 4 of the NAFTA talks began across the Potomac in Arlington, Virginia, and the U.S. side began to present some of its most indigestible proposals for changes to the treaty, labeled poison pill proposals by the President of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. By the time Round 4 ends on Tuesday, Canada's negotiators will likely have seen three demands that will be extremely difficult to accept: a 5-year sunset clause on any new NAFTA treaty, an increase in the minimum amount of U.S. parts required for a car to avoid tariffs, and an end to Canada's supply management system for dairy. The White House, of course, is not the only pole of power in Washington. There is also Congress. The House Ways and Means Committee puts its imprimatur on almost every piece of legislation having to do with money, whether taxes or tariffs. Its role would likely include abrogating the laws that enacted NAFTA in the first place if it is scrapped, and also ratifying any new deal that emerges to replace it. The Canadian delegation, which included Trudeau, Foreign Minister Chrystia Freeland, her Parliamentary Secretary Andrew Leslie, and Ambassador David McNaughton, was pleased that 36 out of 40 committee members showed up to hear their pitch. They may also have been heartened to hear the committee's Republican chair, Rep. Kevin Brady, say he wanted a NAFTA that gave predictability to investors. That remark appeared to be a rejection of the idea of a sunset clause, which Canada and Mexico fear would make investors unwilling to risk their money when the rules of the game could change a few years down the road. Outside the meeting, though, there was a reminder that not all threats to NAFTA come from the populist right embodied by Trump. A couple of the Democratic members of the committee chose to mingle with anti-NAFTA protesters. Those members would never make common cause with Donald Trump, but their shared protectionist instincts could turn them into what Lenin called objective allies, people who hate each other but join forces to oppose something they both hate together. Canada is pushing socially progressive reforms to NAFTA that would add clauses on climate and environment, and women's and Indigenous rights.